I am so excited to start this conversation today with you. There is so much to learn and there is so much to discuss. So, without wasting any time, I would like to begin right away. Is that okay with you?
Yes, I'm excited as well. So let's start.
So, let's start from your childhood. Where did you spend your childhood?
So I basically come from a small town called Dapoli, which is in Ratnagiri state of Maharashtra in India, on west coast. I love to call it Bay Area of India somehow, but yeah, I came from a smaller town.
Nice, nice, nice.
Yeah, so yeah, basically from Dapoli. That's where I grew up.
Tell me a little bit about your schooling and why did you decide to get into engineering?
Yeah, so I basically studied here till my 10th standard, and then I wanted to go to Mumbai to do my, like, let's say, junior college and start doing engineering. But the fact that I wanted to do engineering is because my father has a workshop of motorbikes here. So I have grown up to that. I've seen him working on bikes and everything since my childhood. So that was quite fascinating for me since the beginning, like supercars and everything. And that was the only key motivation, and I was like, mechanical engineering would be the best thing to start with, and that's how I went for it after my junior college.
Clearly, the passion was there. But
Yeah.
let's talk a little bit about aptitude. Did you have the aptitude also? Because, passion is one thing, but we also need the aptitude. So if you are not good at mathematics per se, you may have the passion, but you don't have the aptitude. So tell me a little bit about the aptitude part of it also.
So somehow I was, let's say, good at school, so I never had any trouble with any subjects. I was okay. I scored pretty well in 10th, and that was never a problem. I think I'll have to thank my parents for that, because they kind of brought me up. Like, they always treated studies as something which was very interesting, so I had my own time to study. I never was pushed to do it, so I think their methods worked pretty well, because I never had problem in my schooling or in my exams or anything like that. So that was quite good, and I was, let's say, capable to do engineering even on the aptitude perspective.
Wonderful, wonderful. So after you finished your education, you went the engineering route for a little bit, right?
Yeah, I did my bachelor's in mechanical for like 4 years of education in Mumbai.
And then the work part also, you started with your career in engineering.
I wanted to start in engineering, but meanwhile I was also exposed to design, so I already started to explore. And I took like a gap year after finishing my engineering, and in that year actually I spent most of the time working on music, and then I went for my master's afterwards. So it was quite experimental.
Let's
Yeah.
talk
Yeah.
about your gap year, because and it's interesting that you had the courage to take a gap year.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't believe in taking a gap year. So we're talking largely about risks, and how risk and reward are kind of tied in together.
Right. So what happened primarily, I was not planning to have a gap year, but it just happened that I applied for all the amazing design schools in India, but I couldn't get through because there are very few limited seats there. And that's why I had no options because I got selected in a couple of private colleges where I did not want to go, and that's why I was like, okay, let's take one more year, let's soak it in, let's see if we want to go outside, even beyond India, and see some stuff. So I just took that year to prepare for my further studies, and anyway my music thing was going on, so I was quite busy with music projects and there were things lined up. So that wasn't let's say a tough decision. But now that I think about it, I think it again has a lot to do with the way your parents have treated you in some sort, because I was never pushed to say like, okay, now you have to find a job because you spend so much money on engineering, so now you must find a job or start studying. That was never there, and I had the liberty to say, okay, I'll prepare something else and go afterwards for my masters. And then I used the whole year to explore design, engineering, and music as well. So that was the, let's say, journey, which was not intended, but it happened and it was quite fulfilling, let's say.
But and thanks for sharing that, because parent support is huge, when you're starting off in your career, because not everything is going to be full of success. So support from your parents is huge. Um, did that risk of taking a gap year, did that bring a reward or a realization in any way?
Uh, that's an interesting question. I think it was very much experimental per se, because I was still exploring design and I got exposed to much more possibilities than what I had right after engineering. So I came across various schools internationally. I came across various people. I started talking to very important people, designers, understanding how they are working, while again building the music projects, which were also generating some sort of revenue as well. And definitely, I would say that was the best thing, because it all ended up being a really good possibility for me as I went abroad and then I got to study in Europe. So I think, yeah, it was a really great decision not to hurry and just take whatever. Instead of that, just take your time and then decide, okay, this is what is more appealing and interesting, and let's go for that.
So great that you shared that with us, because we kind of are a risk averse society. Whether it's students or parents, we don't have an appetite for risks. So sharing this knowledge and the reward and the realization that risk brings with everyone is huge for us.
Yeah,
Thanks for sharing that. You took yet another risk after this.
yeah.
Tell us about that huge risk that you took and what's the payoff.
Yeah, so basically, I kind of switched to design, which was more creative, and I wanted to leverage my engineering knowledge as well as fuse it with something more creative. And service design was one of the best things which happened, because I could just leverage whatever I have studied, be it engineering, be it music, and use it for my benefit, to look at it in a completely different way. And then I got again opportunity to study my masters at Politecnico di Milano, which is one of the top 10 universities for design in the world. And I got exposed to so many different things there. I could sense my own abilities in pretty much very different manner, because you usually get stuck and very narrow-minded approach whenever you are doing stuff. But when you just take a pause and look at it from a completely different flavor, you start utilizing each and every aspect of your life as something for your benefit, like be it some small thing which you did in school, some small skits, some small stage stuff which made you go in front of a lot of people and speak. Even those things become very valuable for your, let's say, a bigger experience. And then I switched to design, and then I got to again work with really amazing brands globally, like super brands like Porsche. And it was quite interesting to see that thing, which I never planned, but it just happened because I just believed in the process and what I was doing at that moment. I knew kind of the trajectory, but I never said, okay, this is what I want to get at. It just kept opening a lot of different things, and I was pretty much welcoming everything. So I think that was the insight from it, that is, be open for anything which is coming your way, and just pick what is most interesting at that moment.
Great, thanks for sharing. Suyog, tell me a little bit about your definition for success. How do you define success?
Wow, the question sounds very easy, but when it comes to answering that question, it's always tricky. I I I would I would not say success. Like, it's very difficult. It's not tangible in the first place. You cannot, like, even if you win something, even if you get at that dream position of yours, you still don't feel that as much as you thought you would. So that's why now I'm more towards not success as a destination, but as a process. But again, that's what a lot of people say. But for me, success is usually the overlook. Like, you go, like, you keep building different projects, different things in life, and then you wait for a second and you just look back and you see, oh, I literally got everything done which I wanted to, and all those things are real. And that is just kind of feeling that, wow, that's nice. Okay, let's now go for the next things. So for me, success has like, I never felt really successful, but I'm quite happy with whatever I have, and I'm always finding the best thing which I could do in whatever context I am. So I think that's what I would say. Like, I'm still too young to call.
I think for the vast majority of people, um, being happy in what you're doing is success. Okay.
Yeah.
There is a whole big part of society that says monetary success is success. So if you have money from what you're doing, then that's success.
Right.
I think my definition of success would be when opportunity meets planning. That's success, right? So
Interesting.
you have planned to do what you have done, and you get a fantastic opportunity. Now you're really happy with what you're doing, and money is a byproduct.
Yeah.
So from what you're saying, I think that is how success sounds to you. Am I
Yeah, yeah.
correct in saying that?
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Because money has never was never one of the, let's say, I never calculated things in money, but I think again it has a lot to do with where we come from and what kind of family you are from. Because right now the money is not a discussion here, but if it was a very crucial time for family when surviving and bringing food to the table, then the whole let's say statistics change. So I think I'm lucky to be here. That's why I'm able to do many things.
Absolutely, absolutely. I want to end the conversation by asking your input into sharing with this generation and the generations to come. How important is risk and failure to the total success? So,
Right.
is it important to take risks? Is failure important? How do you look at it?
Uh, yeah, that's interesting. So basically, I would say more than failures, I go for attempts because I somehow, because even I've studied design and engineering, it's just in my system that I never consider anything as a failure. It's just that okay, that was the thing, did not work. Let's do the second iteration, and I just go into problem solving and just come up with the next thing, next thing, next thing, unless until I get to the right, let's say, formula of doing it. That's why I never failed at any moment. It was the part of the whole package, and it just felt like okay, this is the part of the process, didn't work, let's switch to the approach and change it and go ahead with. So that's more about the failure. And I think whatever we do in life, I think we have to be really patient even while taking the decision, because we go very quickly for the short term achievements. But if you want to have like a long term bigger goal, I think it's always good to just enjoy what you're doing. Even if it fails, then you come up with better solutions on it and you just keep building it. And that is very much required, because right now people are so used to getting things quickly. Nobody's planning the longer game. Everybody just wants something tomorrow, and you will get something tomorrow, but it won't last, or you won't be very happy. From my side, from my opinion, I don't know how other people perceive it, but yeah, that's how I look at it. I don't call it a failure. I just call it okay, that was version 1, let's go for version 2 now.
So I think when I heard you, what I picked up from what you were talking is that failure should not be looked at as failure. It should be looked at as an opportunity to learn,
Yeah.
and it is a lesson that you learn only by making attempts.
Yeah.
If you're not attempting something, then you're not learning,
True.
and that
True.
learning should not be looked as a failure.
No, 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 never, never. Because that's how storytelling happens. No, you have context, then you have something which is as conflict, and then you have resolution. If you just take out the conflict part, the story is not gonna feel as much as let's say attractive and fulfilling. So I think conflict comes with the context, and that's how you go to the resolution. That's what I just came up with right now. But yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. Before we end, just tell us a little bit about your present, work that you do,
Right.
so that everyone knows what you do and how can they reach you if they have some questions or queries. So let's end at that.
All right, perfect. So basically, right now I'm building my own company. As I said, I have vast experience in music design and engineering as well. I have started my innovation company where I'm helping individuals, startups, and brands to innovate using the innovation methods which are usually present in high-tech innovation labs in, say, let's say Google, Uber, Porsche. So I'm just making the process available for all, so everybody can benefit through it. So that's the project I'm building, which is called Futuring Now. But you can see everything which I'm making in my life on my YouTube channel, because I have been making videos for last 3 years talking about all the projects, making a podcast there as well. So it's just The Fun Indian Guy, because as I was in Europe, the name made much sense there to be the fun Indian guy in Europe. So that's the handle, and you can see all my work, pretty much everything I talk about on my YouTube channel or on any podcasting apps, on Spotify, wherever you want to listen to it. And there I'm pretty much always reflecting on things I do. And I think that's the best place to check out everything I do.
Wonderful. Thank you for spending time with us today, Suyog. I really learned a lot. I hope you enjoyed the conversation as well. And I hope to connect once again and take it
Yeah,
further if there is an opportunity that presents itself. So we
perfect.
look
Thank
forward to more success from your side, and we wish you all the best with whatever you're doing.
Perfect. Thank you so much for this amazing interview. It was really good. I was looking forward to it. Amazing questions and nice conversation. So thank you for that. Also for your time. It really means a lot. And yeah, I'm gonna always experiment stuff. So hope to share more as I go ahead.
Wonderful. And we'll be cheerleading for you eternally. Thank you for your time.
Awesome. Thank you.